Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble! Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Toon Review YouTube channel. And tonight it is Transfer Show again with myself and Alex. But this time it's a little bit different than the three we did in the previous series, because tonight we're going to be talking about potential money buys. So obviously we went through the free transfers and see who was available, etc., etc. And now tonight we're going to go through free transfers and see who might be available for Newcastle. Now, this isn't rumours. I must stipulate that this isn't rumours about who might be coming, etc. This is simply just me and Alex and you guys chatting about possible money signings, realistic signings, or who you would like to see us maybe try and go for. It's not anybody rumoured to be signing for Newcastle United. I have to state that. This is just a conversation between all of us about potential money signings, who we could possibly go for, and who would be interested in coming. So we've got a few names, but we'll go through a few comments first of all. Just got a new video from a PlayStation subscription about Apex Legends. New character being revealed. Wait for it. Newcastle. Indeed. Wow. Good evening, Ash. Evening, Norvik. Gary says, good evening, Paul, Alex. Don't know if Billy's on too. Evening, everyone. Billy's having a night off. Feet up, chilling out. Isaac says, woke up at 1:30 today. My last lie-in before back to school tomorrow. Yeah, enjoy it, my friend. We've just had a new member come in, Dan Brown. Thank you for either renewing or becoming a new member. Really appreciate that. Michael's in the house. V's here. Neil says, good morning from some of us addicts. Yeah, Neil, he's been busy getting some of the Asian magpies into the Facebook group today. So well done, Neil. Creating a good community for them guys over there to come and have a chat in a safe environment about Newcastle United. V is in the house. May have already said that. Goldfather says, evening, Paul and Alex. My dream signing for this summer would be Riyad Mahrez. I know he's a senior citizen at 31, but he is like a fine wine. That's an interesting shout.
I'll add him on the list. Anybody, yeah. If you guys mention anybody interesting, we will tack it on at the end of the show, because it'll be interesting to see.
Definitely, yeah. Michael says Newcastle's going to be like a fat kid in a sweet shop with loads of pocket money this summer. V says, I went and said hi on the wrong stream, a bit ahead of myself on the preview stream. Well, I doubt it'll be there on Thursday, V, but thank you very much for the hello in advance. We really appreciate that. We've got Neil back again. A few Asian mags joined. Yeah, I've seen that today. Thanks, mate. Ronald says, can you do the date format from Yank to UK? I can't, because it's YouTube, and YouTube are basically based in the States. There's nothing I can do about that. So unfortunately, Ronald, it is what it is. We can't change the way the Americans like to have the date system.
If you follow him on Twitter, then he tweets out when it is anyway, so that can work as well.
Yeah. Bradley says, hey, Geordies, one love, roll on Liverpool. Thomas says, evening, everyone. Please smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. David says, Calvert-Lewin would be decent. Is he on our list?
He's not on the list for tonight, but we can definitely bring up his stats and have a little conversation about him.
Indeed. Good evening, Steph. Hitmark is in. Jim, good evening. Luke says, rumours of Sven Botman on the way. We don't have any rumours of Sven Botman, and we are going to be spoiling. I'll take that back. We are going to be talking about Sven Botman tonight, but unfortunately, it's nothing to do with any rumours or anything like that. It's, I believe Alex has got some information that says why this Botman to AC Milan is criteria.
It's some of the players are on the rumoured list, but it's not because they're on the rumoured list that I've picked them. It's because we can afford them, B, we need their position.
Yeah.
It has to fit the criteria. It's not just because it's a rumour. It has to actually fit with our playing style. Do we need the position cover? Can we afford it? Is it realistic? It has to fit all the criteria. It's not just because it's a rumour. So it's been done properly.
Yeah. Caitlin and Nick says, hey, you guys, have you heard the news today about the new owners and directors test for clubs? Could this put us in the shit? Well, no, because they already own the club, so they can't go through another owners test, which that would be a bit ridiculous. But I haven't heard what the new test is, but at the end of the day, they're already in, so it doesn't matter. Majestic, good evening. V says, Sven Botman. Oh, how autocorrect comes in clutch sometimes, indeed. Have to be careful. Good evening, Ian. Michael says, could get Calvert-Lewin at a championship price. Indeed. Matthew says, how are the Toon review? Yeet says, looking dapper, Stato. Wait till you see Stato on Friday. He's been browsing for shirts today because of the guest we have on Friday. An absolutely massive coup for the channel. It really is. But we'll talk about that a bit later on. Neil says, evening, Paul and Alex. Jim says, V, try Man United. It comes out as Man U. It does. Evening all. Rudiger a serious top target now, says Paul. I don't think he is. I think Rudiger's going in.
I mean, he's been confirmed by Tuchel as leaving.
Yeah.
And he's blaming sanctions on that, despite the fact they had months to renew his contract. He wanted too much. He wanted, I believe he was on 140 or 160. I'd have to clarify. We did it in a previous show, and he wanted 200, and they said, no, you're not having 200. You're not a captain, and you're not on a forward. So he threw his toys out the pram and said, well, okay, no contract.
Yeah, he did. Will, your biggest fan, Statos says, morning, boys. Alex, you see Burn developing as a ball-playing centre-back if Botman doesn't happen?
I see Burn being the number one and us bringing in a left-footed centre-back to be the rotation with Dan Burn. That's how I see it. I see us, if we bring in a Botman, it would be both of them who would rotate as the left-sided, because Botman's still young. In the Premier League, as we've seen with Bruno, you need to adapt. There's nothing wrong with us having two good left-footed centre-back choices, because obviously we won't be using Clark anymore. So,
what a shame. Toon Dave says, evening all, Paqueta is a must. Got to join his best mate. Who wouldn't like a triple Brazilian? Cameron says, the centre-back I would go get is Ivan Indica from Frankfurt.
Oh, please, that's the one that was linked today, wasn't it? He was. I saw an article about him today.
Yeah, he's on the list. He's on the list. Welcome to the family, Dan Brown. Yep, thank you, Dan. Judy Hobbs is in tonight. Hit the like or you're a sweaty Mackham. That's fair enough. I don't disagree with that at all. Darren, good evening. Sai says, I'd love it if we signed Aaron Hickey from Bologna. Yeah, he's been mentioned numerous times, Aaron Hickey, for a lot of teams. Very, very good player. Obviously, John, who watches a lot of Serie A, has said that he is a very good player. And is that the Scottish kid, Alex?
Yeah, it's the young Scottish lad in Italy who's doing very, very well at the moment. But I think is he not a left back? I thought he was a left back, not a right back.
I don't know. We'll find out. I'm sure we'll find out.
Interesting, because right back's a bit stacked for us at the moment. I can't see us looking for a right back this summer.
No, definitely not. Keith, thank you for your $10 super chat. Very kind again of you, my man. There's a laundry list of players we would love to get, but who we wind up getting is probably going to be much different. Yeah, I mean, look, this is just a conversation about potential signings. And us as Newcastle United fans haven't been able to do that for many years, is go into a summer looking forward to signing some players. Now, you know, I'm not saying that Newcastle United are going to go out there and spend millions and millions. What they'll do is they'll build and they'll get who they think they need to get in. But us as fans, we can talk about who realistically we could look at and what difference they'd make to the team. Guy, good evening. Jim says a forward who can score goals and not spend half the season on the injury list. It's not a bad shot. We do need, there's no doubt about that. Shane says, evening, gents, would love a big name striker after Paqueta. Chippers, good evening. Sup, Paul. Evening, Davey. Sean Longstaff didn't have chances like Joe Linton. Bandar, I'm sorry, but I can't see him being Evening, guys. James Alcott done a video today. Only non-Newcastle fan giving us the praise we deserved. Yeah, I think there's.
He did. It was a good video.
That's on our Facebook group now as well. So if you want to go and watch that after the show, it is on there. Brian says, "Good evening, Paul and Alex. I'd like to see us go for Nunes, Paqueta, and Diego Carlos." Right, we'll start off. Who's on the list? And I think it's a player that everybody really is gonna. Well, is probably going to know who's on this list. I mean, the first one to come out, and that is Paqueta, Alex.
It is. So we are starting off with a big name. We're starting off with Paqueta, not just because he's linked. There are a host of reasons why we're in for him. Lyon do not look like they're going to get European football. He has attended matches to watch Bruno. One confirmed, one rumoured. I think it was Southampton he was at, and was it Wolves he was rumoured to be at as well, potentially. They're in constant communication with each other. That is Bruno and Paqueta. And we need his position. We need, if you look at our squad, we have a lot of left-sided midfielders who like to play on that left side, whether it's Joe Linton. Bruno also favours the left. Everybody typically favours that left side of centre midfield or wing. They all love that left side. We don't quite, apart from Willock, likes to play right. Even when you go as far as the wings, Fraser doesn't want to be on the right wing either. Nobody wants to be on the right side of our squad for some reason. It is a bit of a problem. So having him as an option, it fills in. If we want to play a 4-2-3-1, he fills in as a number 10. He also fills in as a right-sided 8 in a 4-3-3. So he fills two positions. He would come in over the top of Joe Willock. So to take the pressure off Joe Willock, we could have a rotation option with Paqueta and Willock. Or he could play as a 10 and rotate with Maxi or whoever we bring in or whoever we decide is going to be there. So he fits the positions we desperately need to fill with more quality. He ticks that box. He's on low wages in Lyon anyway, because the wages typically are somewhere between 35 and 60,000 a week in France. So we could double that, no problem. Transfer fee quoted, rumoured to be 58 million. Some people have quoted 50 million euros, 60 million euros. It varies. So the price tag is expensive, but if we need that position, we need quality. The biggest thing we need really is that one more midfielder, the striker and the winger. Those are the three that are touted, because we have shut up shop fairly well with the defence, and that's without Trippier. So we'd be looking at trying to score some more goals going forward.
I don't think we're desperate for defenders at the minute. I think we have certainly more important positions, like you've just said. We've got a lot more important positions to cover. The way the defence is turning out, I think we can. I think everybody said but if one got injured, then that leaves Lascelles coming in. So there is a risk of that. But
when we develop into a better team, that one change won't be as dramatic as it's been in the past. It will be less noticeable because they will be surrounded by more quality, as we see as you've seen with Manchester United throughout the years. Sort of when we look at sort of 10 years ago, when you had your Tom Cleverleys walk into the team, they looked fine, and then when you put them in other teams, the quality just isn't there. I mean, he is still a good player, but it's examples like that. We're going to be in a situation where it's not going to be as much of a problem anymore. Some of the squad rotation are still going to look fine because they're going to have a lot of quality around them.
Do you have stats for Paqueta there?
I do. Well, I've got some written down, and then I've got some I'll screen share in a minute.
Stick the screen up.
Okay, so let's go with. So can we see this okay?
Yep. Spot on.
So this is the standard FBref profile. Age as well fits in brilliantly. Not even 25 yet, about to turn 25. So about to turn into his peak as a midfielder. In terms of his output, 8 goals, 6 assists this season in Ligue 1. He's actually underperforming. So his expected goals is 10.6. So, and his non-penalty XG, because he does take some penalties, is still 10. So he's actually underperforming. So 8 goals, 6 assists is actually an underperformance, which if we had a midfielder in our team putting those numbers up in the season, that'd be lovely. That would be
not exactly underperforming when we talk about Newcastle United, to be fair.
Well, exactly. Europa League, 9 appearances this season. He's been very solid in them. He's underperforming there. He should have had possibly, you could argue, another goal or another assist. And then if we actually go down and have a look at his statistics, so this is versus attacking midfielders and wingers across the top 5 European leagues for the last year. So this is how he rates. So when we talk about does he fit the team, yes, it's not just a rumor. This guy really does fit into what we need. If we have a look at pressures, this is pressures per 90. He's in the 94th percentile in the big boy top 5 leagues, nearly 24 pressures per 90. So he's got that energy as well as the quality. And we also look at his aerial duels won.
Yeah.
He's filling in gaps that we don't get from Longstaff and Willock in terms of pressures and in terms of that output and quality on the ball.
That does not look to me to be a player who is having an off season, as the XG would suggest. I mean, he is.
This is if I change him to midfielders as well. So if I keep midfielders, it gets better.
Yeah,
that's versus midfielders.
That is quite incredible. So, I mean, look, for me, the rumours bounding around, I think there's a big connection with Paqueta and obviously Bruno, best mates. Joe Linton will certainly have an input to get him in. And, you know, players talk, you know, there's no doubt about that. The Paqueta will be talking to Bruno about Bruno's experiences at Newcastle United. And, you know, he may well want to follow him. It's just whether Newcastle United are prepared to pay the money that certainly is being banded around. I mean, 50, 60 million, it's a lot of money. But then again, we're getting another add-on to what we've got with Bruno already.
Well, exactly. It's not the sort of signing of Paqueta wouldn't just be his individual quality. He would be a team transforming component. Bruno has already helped us kick on and achieve a bit more possession this season and have a bit more quality. Eddie Howe is talking about building towards being a more dominant team on the ball. This guy is another piece in that jigsaw puzzle. I've brought it down to his pass types. And if you look at his passes under pressure, he's getting 11.85 per 90, which is in the 99th percentile in Europe. So these are kinds of players that are press resistant. They can carry the ball around without a care in the world and pass it off no problem under pressure. This is the sort of play that would take us to a dominant team and being able to keep the ball in midfield and push us into one of the stronger teams in the division.
That's incredible. I mean, it just looks incredible. Now, what we must discuss, Alex, is what do you think is the realistic chance of Newcastle United going in for him? Do you think that, you know, he's somebody that is on our radar?
Well, this next slide basically answers the question. It completely depends on what this middleman here, what ends up of Sean Longstaff, because Joe Willock is most likely going to be that box-to-box option going forward, being as the transfer fee we paid for him, and he does look good. So Paqueta would be the overstudy in theory to Joe Willock. Whereas what happens to Sean Longstaff? Does he have the quality to play further back in Shelvey's position? It doesn't look like it at the moment. Does he have what the?
I would worry on that one. I would worry about his being quick enough, Alex, in that position.
Well,
you know, and that's saying something because everybody says, "Oh, Shelvey has been really slow," but you look at Longstaff in that position, that would worry me. Worry me a lot because I just don't think he's switched on enough and he's quick enough.
Well, if he's not there, then he's going to be one of the higher 8s or a 10, and if you know,
he's not going to get in there either, is he?
So we've got shooting per 90. So Paqueta's shooting. Where is shots per 90? Total shots per 90 minutes. So Paqueta is taking 3 shots per 90. Willock and Longstaff are half and 33% respectively. So he's a lot more aggressive. In terms of his passes, he's completing 42 passes per 90 compared to Joe Willock's less than 20 and Longstaff's 30. So there is a huge difference here. In terms of his defensive actions as well, we're not even losing that much. He's not just a flair player. Paqueta's actually putting in just under 3 tackles per 90 anyway. So we're not actually losing a drop off defensively. He's very good at winning the ball back, good at his interceptions. So we're not really losing anything. from anywhere by changing it to this kind of thing, playing him as an 8 or a 10. He's getting more touches as well. There is virtually no no downside apart from the transfer fee that's being suggested. So
yeah.
for me, it's 100% in my opinion.
I think we have to try and make him a priority. Len Simmons, thanks for your £4.49 super chat. He says, hi Paul the Glue and Alex the Stato. This is really the best channel. I've looked at the rest. Remember Z, not Z, Alex. I don't think Len's ever going to let you forget that. No, I don't know. Have you? I don't think you have.
Sure.
Gary Hannant, thank you for your £10 super chat. Hi, Paul and Alex. For Bruno and Lucas, is there any difference between them both in their weakness and strengths? Just wondering.
Well, Paqueta is more of an aggressive option in terms of, aggressive is the wrong word. He's more attacking, whereas Bruno has the more of that defensive mindset. He's quite happy to come back and sit a little bit deeper and spray the ball about, whereas Paqueta's instinct is a lot more about driving and progression, a little bit further up. Slightly different players, but it's marginal. And as you can see from his sofa score here as well, he's left-footed, but he does like to play slightly right. He does favour sort of floating out right. You can see by his heat map as well, he does like to float out to the right-hand side a bit more. And Eddie loves his invertedness, whether it's in wings or wherever. It gives us another left-footer on the team as well for set pieces or for what link-up plays. And if you look at the strengths here, playmaking, high pressing, ball control, no outstanding weaknesses. Not crazy on the defensive attributes, but he 100% looks like he fits perfectly into what Eddie Howe wants, into what the team looks like. He's already played with Bruno. It's tailor-made. It looks like it's a perfect fit already.
Incredible. Ginger says, I keep seeing even Tony, but we need to stay well clear. Him 6 goals from open play is not good enough. Plus, Tony sent all that I want, poaching, not a penalty taker. David says, if Man United are throwing out Slabhead for cheap, I would take him, says David. If Howe can find a player in craft, then what can he do with a Euros finalist? I ain't so sure about that one. Listen, Eddie Howe is a miracle worker. There is no doubt about that. However, Harry Maguire is a very, very different kettle of fish to what we are talking about in general. But there you go. Andrew says, Sarr from Watford would be good for the right wing. Think he'll get better under Howe? Possibly. Declan Rice isn't renewing his contract apparently at West Ham, Alex. Before you answer that, mate, I'm just going to step out and back in again because my internet's all over the shop tonight. I'll be back shortly.
Yeah, not a problem. I don't know if you wanted me to talk about that while he backs out. We can. Yeah, Rice. I'm not sure how long his contract is. Whether even if he doesn't renew it, I'd assume he's still got time, a reasonable amount of time left on it. And a lot of people have seen the transfer fees suggested in the media. I think that might be a step too far for us, especially this summer. That would be insane.
V says, like Declan Rice, but doubt he'll ever leave London. Wagner says, if you get, I think is that supposed to be Nketiah or Ekiteki? Or I'm not sure who that is. And Paqueta, this team already gets a little bit more imagined. Martin says, imagine a midfield of J7, Bruno and Paqueta. Yeah, we've imagined that many, many times already, which is incredible. So if we had a midfield like that, I wouldn't be complaining. I really wouldn't. Ryan says, new fullbacks are not needed this summer. Targett and Lewis as our left backs and Trippier Kraft right backs are good. I'm not sure what's going to happen with Jamal Lewis, to be honest. It's a bit hit and miss with him. Guy says, I'd go all in for Ivan Toney. Is he actually on our list?
He's not on my list for today, but we will do other shows, so he can be on a future one.
Yep. Foxy says, is Paqueta an improvement on what we have? Yes. Do we need to spend more on him than we need for Bruno? No chance. Much, much better options out there for us. I don't want us signing him because he's Bruno's mate. I don't think that's just because he's Bruno's mate, Foxy. He is a very, very good footballer.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen what we've just talked about. There's there's no doubt about he's good enough. He starts for Brazil every week, and Bruno's not starting for Brazil consistently yet. Yeah, this guy is no joke. He's good in Europe. He's good in Ligue 1. He's good at international level. He's the right age. There is absolutely no reason to suggest he's just coming. He would come just because of being a mate. He looks good enough.
Indeed. Michael Marsden, thank you again. 89.99 super chat. Very, very kind, my man. Thank you so much again. Massive donator to the channel. You are a top man. Thank you so much again, Michael. And thanks for tuning in again tonight. Bradley says, I know this is a very boring question, but how much can we afford to spend with the FFP rules? There's been a lot of confusion about this, Alex, about the FFP and where we stand with that. But I was led to believe that we wouldn't really be touched by the FFP because of the lack of funds that Mike Ashley spent.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure it's even going to matter this summer, to be honest, because I don't think they're going to go based on money. I think they're going to go based on what positions are needed.
Yeah.
And I think we will, because I don't think they're going to want to do too many changes anyway because of the squad size. So I think we will hit the limit before we hit the spending limit just naturally. So if we pay 2 or 3 transfer fees, get a few free transfers through the door, you know, maybe it's 5 or 6 signings, I think they would just stop at that point anyway, just for squad cohesion and, you know, things of that nature. So I don't think it'll really matter. I think we're going to hit. I don't think we're going to get to that point where we're going to be spending obscene amounts anyway.
Yeah, indeed. Lenz Simmons, thanks for another 17.99 super chat. He says, "Yep, you did say it, Alex. You said Z, not Z, but you admitted your mistake." I just think I'm going to agree with everything our Alex says. He's got the stats, Paul. Yeah, there you go. Undoubtedly. George says,
don't take my word for it. You've got to do the research first.
Yes, exactly. Get Sean Longstaff to the championship on loan, says George. Neil says, chances of Darwin Núñez or a statement signing. Well, I think we go for a statement signing. I think we will. We move on Hayden, both Longstaffs and Hendrick. Need an upgrade on Joe Linton and Shelby. Those two with Willock are great to have in the squad still. I think Eddie wants Joe Linton to be a big part of this. I really does. But again, we have to wait and see. Pookie is a shout from Keith. Maybe
he did look very sharp against us. To be fair, he looks like the best player in a poor side. He's very sharp. He beats his man often. He looks like he's got an eye for goal. I'm surprised he's not moved sooner. I think it just might be a bit of a step too soon or a step too late. I think if we'd have got him in the summer or in January, it'd have been fine. But we probably could be looking a bit higher than that potentially.
Yeah. Definitely. George says, Alex's pronunciation of Paqueta makes me think he should consider doing some ASMR. Foxy says we should be targeting a Wilmar, Barrios, Basuma type player in that midfield. Susan says, thank you to Gary and Len. Mrs. Toon Review now, as she's known on here. Dominic says, love the stats, Alex. John's Backdoor says, hello. Paqueta is so good that he's conquered his space in the Brazil national team. Exactly. So if he wasn't that good, then I'm sure he wouldn't be in the Brazil national team. Ken says, Bruno and Paqueta are almost telepathic the way they play. Yes. Who's next on the list, Alex?
So we have somebody that's come up in the rumour mill recently, but he's not on here because he's in the rumour mill.
Exactly.
He is on here because he's good enough and he fits the criteria, and it might be an option for us potentially. So that is Gabriel Jesus of Manchester City.
Indeed.
Or Jesus, I think they say in Portuguese. They pronounce
Jesus, whatever. Neil Purvis, thank you for the £10 super chat. Very kind. There's no comment there, but thanks for your donation, buddy. Go ahead, Alex.
Yeah, so this lad would be a big signing, a marquee signing. It would be one of the top targets if we were going for him, and it would be an absolute coup because of who he plays for.
Yeah.
I think this is a realistic signing depending on how Manchester City do this season. There are a lot of rumours going around that they are saving up for Haaland, and that's why they let Ferran Torres go to Barcelona. Is they're trying to basically save up to offset that. They did buy Grealish as well, so they're trying to save up and find ways to make that transfer happen. And it's never really happened for Jesus in his time at City. So he's been there for quite a long time now. And he's made 155 appearances with only 95 starts. So he's never been able to become a mainstay in the team purely because of Pep's rotation, and maybe because he's not favoured. The reason he's on the list,
he was blistering on Saturday. Absolutely, against Watford, he was superb.
Yeah, well, against Watford, he played out on the right wing and he got
Yep.
4 goals, 1 assist, 10 out of 10 rating. Was an absolute monster.
Yep.
And we are in dire need of a right winger, which is why I've put him on the list, because he's been playing out on the right wing for quite some time now. And the right wing option is something we would like to upgrade in the summer. So it's a fair shout. If City win the Champions League or don't win the Champions League, they might want to get rid of him anyway to free up some wages and some room for their big striker signing, which looks like it might happen. I feel like this is more than a rumor as well, because they were 100% confirmed in for Kane and they didn't get that. So they are looking at a big number 9. It's not just a rumor anymore. It's true. Whether it's Haaland or not, we don't know for sure.
The thing that worries me about Jesus is that if we do sign him, then I think the problem is with Jesus, he's been moved around the front so many times. He hasn't had a set position at City. He started as a striker, then they moved him left, they've moved him right. And I just think he's been all over. He needs to come in and hopefully, if you get what I'm saying, not be another Joe Linton, where we give him a position and he sticks at that position. If we bring him in as a striker, he's definitely capable of being a striker. There's no doubt about it. He technically he is a striker, but he can play on the right, like you say. Give him that position.
I have him down as a winger. I don't have him down as a forward in my plans, in theory. He obviously can play up front. Played as a false 9 quite a lot.
But he's certainly got the pace to be a winger. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, 100%. I just feel what you described as a possible problem. I hadn't thought of it the way you've described it. My original thought process was that was a positive, because we've got, if we could have potentially Paqueta and Guimaraes and Maxi and Jesus up front, and then maybe when Wilson's back fit or whoever the striker would be, they're all going to rotate. This is what, if we're going to become a possession-based dominating team, we're going to be trying to play the ball around the box and try and pick locks and have fast attacks. And I feel like we need people who understand how to float and rotate and understand mirror movement. And this is somebody that under Pep 100% knows how to do that. And he fits the criteria of being 25 years old. He's not even in his peak yet.
He's still young.
He's been around for years and he's not even in his peak.
I was going to say that. He seems to have been around a lot of years at City, yet being 25, that to me is a perfect age to come to somewhere like Newcastle and actually build, do something. But I mean, look at that.
Yeah, so stat-wise, obviously his output is outrageous. He is extremely high up for passes, carries, touches in the attack penalty area, and then his contribution for goals and assists is through the roof. It's difficult to give him a full assessment on his, does he play the Eddie Howe way with the pressures?
Yeah.
Because Manchester City have so much of the ball, this just by virtue is going to be lower.
Well, I'd say that would be low for most Man City players the way they play.
Yeah, so it is a bit skewed. This is why you've got to take the stats with a pinch of salt and look at the context. He's not going to have as high a tackles and pressures per 90 because they just have all the ball anyway. And they will trigger presses as a unit and as a team, and he might not always be the one getting the final foot in, but he will contribute to the press. And he does have high energy. We know that through watching anyway. I know everybody's watched at least a bit of Manchester City. So this guy, would we be able to get people like Paqueta and Jesus in one transfer window? That is a huge ask, especially because we do need a forward.
It's a huge ask, but you imagine that. I mean, God almighty. There'd be celebrations all over the town. Just 2 seconds, Alex. We've got an £8.99 super chat coming from George. Thank you very much, George. He says, any thoughts on Thomas Strakoja as a replacement for Dubravka? That's a one to write down there, Alex.
How are we spelling that? Because I can't see your screen.
Strakosa.
Okay.
Now, again, we are doing further shows on this on a Monday night. So do, like Alex says, if we haven't got them on our list, we will certainly add to them, and Alex will get some stats for them. Len Simmons, 89.99 super chat. Thank you so much, Len. Really kind, my friend. And he's put a comment there. Thank you, Mrs. Susan Toon Review. Paqueta, listen to our Alex Eddy. I'm sure he watches the Toon Review. Jesus is a maybe. And we have another 44.99 from Michael Marsden. Incredible. Absolutely incredible generosity to this channel, guys. And it, thank you so much. I mean, if it is your way of saying thank you, guys, for what we do, then we really do appreciate it. We really do. Every single super chat that comes in, we absolutely blows our mind that people can be so generous, because we love what we do, and it's nice to be appreciated. But this is incredible. It really is. Thank you again, Michael. Thank you, Len. Thank you to all of the super chatters so far. Absolute incredible. Go on now, Alex. You got a bit more on Jesus there.
Well, I've just pulled up the 5-1 against Watford that you mentioned, just so people can see. He got a straight 10 out of 10, as of course you would with 4 goals in the game. His heat map, as you can see, is described what I mentioned. They're just stacking around the penalty area. So despite being on the right side of kind of a 3 attacking prong, he's actually standing the most time on that left side of the penalty area. So you can just kind of see here 3 key passes, 2 long balls, a bunch of shots, dribbles, winning penalties, duels. He's everywhere. He's at 3 interceptions, 2 tackles. The man is just absolutely everywhere. He fits the criteria of being a flair player. He fits the age. We've got the Brazilian theme. He knows how to play in the system we want to play in. The position is vacant for a superstar in the right wing anyway. It's just a no-brainer if it's possible. I mean, it's a difficult transfer, and it's very likely they would just say no, or the player would say no. Yeah, that's fair enough. But if you don't ask, you don't get. And I feel like players are going to stand up and notice the sort of season that Bruno's had for us, and sort of maybe thinking, oh, maybe I could have some of that. And let's be realistic. If City do end up winning the Champions League, that might be positive for us, because it means these lads have achieved everything. They might want a new project.
A new challenge.
Could be a good thing.
Yeah, it's certainly a project at Newcastle United. That is no doubt. Foxy says, I'd be amazed if we don't try for Nkunku, from Leipzig, most underrated player in Europe right now. Tangy says, Joe Linton is already our Declan Rice, maybe a spicier. Evan Indigia, he's apparently a French centre-back.
Yeah, that's the Frankfurt guy we were linked with today.
Yes. Coutinho is a possible purchase. I'm not so sure about Coutinho, Alex. I mean, he is a possible purchase, but he's not really ripping the ground up at Villa, is he?
Yeah, he's been a bit off of late. Gerrard actually had some comments about him, saying that he goes through phases and he'll come good, he'll be fine. The rumored price that Barcelona have given Villa to sign him permanently, I think, was 33 million euros. But Barca are open to better offers in the summer if anybody wants to better it. So, and he would be in sort of the left side, sort of central midfield. It's an option. I feel like there are better players out there. I feel like 40 million for Coutinho, or do we pay an extra 10-20 and get Paqueta? I would rather get Paqueta for the age. He'd be 3 to 4 years younger, putting up better numbers as well. And I feel like we're more in need of that side.
Indeed.
Yeah. And he's better at pressures. It just fits a lot more. I think Coutinho is a great shout, and if it's possible for reasonable money, why not? But I feel like there are people ahead on the list.
Yeah. Good evening, gents. It's been so long on Sky Sports League since I haven't had to scroll down to see Newcastle. I know. It was incredible that the other night, and they were putting the league tables up, and boom. Michael Marsden, another 89.99 super chat, mate. Thank you so much. That's absolutely incredible. My mind is blown, simply blown. Thank you so much, guys. And Michael, honestly, unbelievable generosity, man. Thank you so much. I know you don't like me rabbiting on about it, but just thank you. Daniel says, the Brazilian 3. The Brazilian 3. That is quality. Quality. Andrew says, I'd pay the money for Paqueta and look at the free options for some other positions. Well, this is what we need to take into account, Alex. Going through all the players that were available on a free transfer when we did those 3, the 3 shows, we don't necessarily have to spend a lot of money, do we? Because we could get one big signing. I mean, I know we, signing on fees, etc. That's where. But when you look at it a different way, you go for maybe Paqueta, and then you look at all the other different free transfers that sort of soften the blow. And we don't necessarily, on transfer fees anyway, have to pay a great deal.
Well, this is what I've got up here in these tactical boards. We'll look at them later, but I actually have free transfers mixed in with paid transfers here. We can kind of see what the team can look like. Yeah, but you're absolutely spot on. This is how we close the gap to European football quicker than we thought, is a combination of free transfers and transfer fees. One thing that we've not mentioned as well that is vital for getting the best out of Eddie Howe's system and these linked players is the new 5 substitution rule. Which the trend seems to be an hour in, make a triple substitution, and then save your 2 for anything you need later on. So that's going to massively favour a team like us who's going to be playing with high press. It means we can just freshen everything up and just keep pushing and just put your foot down basically. So that's a huge benefit to us. Everything's going in the right direction.
Yeah. Martin Barker, thank you for your £5 super chat, mate. Very, very kind. Thank you so much. He says, back in the day, we went shopping in France for our players. Let's level it up and go shopping in Brazil. Yeah, we were once known as Toon, remember, under Pardew. But now we seem to be going a different way. And instead of the south of France, we're going to South America. So interesting.
Who was Jesus' player? I know, was it Flamengo? I think it was. No, so Jesus is Palmeiras and Paqueta was Flamengo.
Yeah, I knew one of them was. NUFC 1891 says, Paul and Alex, what do you think about Jamie Vardy? Would you have him at Newcastle? I'm just wondering. A great show, lads. For me, probably not now. I mean, if we were going for a main central striker, it wouldn't be Vardy for me at his age. Don't get me wrong. He's had a wonderful career. He's still playing well. But he's injured at the minute, obviously. But I just think there would be probably better options out there than Jamie Vardy, Alex.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, I mean, look at that. That's not exactly pulling the world apart.
So what is he now? He is 35 years old. He will be 36 halfway through next season. He's on 10 goals with an XG of 6.6. So obviously he is a lethal finisher and he always outperforms his XG because he's a beast. 1,500 minutes this year. I forget what his injury is this. I know he's injured, but I'm not sure what happened and whether it's serious.
Well, he came back, didn't he? Because he was on the bench for a couple of the European games, and then he's disappeared again.
Yeah, playing on the final shoulder. I mean, it just feels he feels like he would be a super Dwight Gale. He would just be, obviously he's way above Dwight Gale in terms of quality, way above him. But I feel like we need to be signing people because Callum Wilson and Chris Wood, respectively, are both above 30 or above 30 years old. So we need to be signing that third striker. Whoever comes in needs to be younger. The average age of the squad is getting on a bit. We need to freshen things up. So
we don't kind of need an old folks home up front, do we?
I don't think Leicester have got any reason to sell him. If Leicester fancy having him for another year, or if he's doing fine, I don't see why they would get rid of him or why he would want to come to us. I mean, it's Leicester through and through at the moment, isn't he? So I think it would be a weird signing for us, for Leicester, and for Jamie Vardy. I don't think it works on all three fronts. So probably not.
Yeah. Fraser was free, says Lee. Maxi Wilson were cheap by today's standards. J7 was a bit on the upper price bracket. Yeah, we haven't spent a great deal, which is why I think a lot of Newcastle fans, we're kind of getting carried away a little bit, Alex. I mean, it's understandable given what the last 14 years we've had to put up with in transfer windows and stuff like that. And I think, some fans are probably getting a little bit carried away with how much we could actually spend. But it's got to be built the right way. It's pointless just spending money if they're not going to fit into what Eddie Howe's plans are. We have to get players that are going to fit into his style of play, or it just won't work.
Yeah, no, exactly. It has to fit the system and the style because, Eddie Howe's recruitment has always been, this Bournemouth recruitment was specifically, do they have the right attributes physically and technically to be developed? And he kind of takes that to a new level and has done with us. He's trying to look at players who can be developed like the Eki-Teki deal, as we call it.
Eki-Teki!
But in terms of the money as well, people have got to remember there is wiggle room because of the potential for 7, 8, 9 departures, which is going to free up anywhere between £200,000 and £300,000 per week in wage budget, which is enormous. That is enormous. So there's no reason why we can't commit to decent contracts for pretty top quality players. Obviously, we're not shopping in the top brackets of your sort of people who are going to want Champions League. But we can shop sort of at the top, sort of the bottom end of that. People like Bruno were in Europe, and there's no reason why we can't shop just under the elite bracket.
Well, we can plant seeds in the head. That's what we can do. Without a shadow of a doubt, we can plant seeds. Even if they don't come to us, then there's an opportunity for next time. Guys, at the end of the show tonight, I will let you know what's coming up on the channel this week. But I just wanted to point out Friday night show with myself and Alex. We have a fantastic coup for the channel. The massively respected and well-known chief football writer for the Times, Henry Winter, will be joining us live on Friday night at 8 o'clock. It's an absolute massive for me and for Alex, because we're both huge fans of him, and he has had a wonderful career. So we'll be talking about his journalism and his time covering Newcastle United, his time knowing the late, great Dave Harrison as well. So he's absolute smashing bloke. Spent a good amount of time on the phone with him today. He already planted a few stories in my head about, when he used to go to Newcastle against Marseille with Drogba doing something to the reporters. Incredible stories that he's got. So absolutely fantastic for us to get him on there. So do not miss that show on Friday night. It's at 8 o'clock. Me and Alex with Henry Winter, which is why Alex is busy shopping for a new shirt. We've got another £10 super chat coming from Robert Allen. Thank you so much, Robert. Origi, Jesus and Wilson have a front three. Midfield, Big Joe, Paqueta and Bruno, and the same back four. Obviously, with Trips, would still have ASM, Willock, Shelby, etc. as subs. That could make top six. Scared. Origi,
Origi's an interesting shout. There's a lot of people talking about him.
Yeah. C-Dex is one of the options on right wing. Diaby from Leverkusen has been rumoured, but with a £50 million price tag. That's rough.
Yeah, he's somebody that's on my list for a transfer show. He's not in this one, but he is. People like Nkunku and Diaby are huge talents. They have been linked with moves to Champions League clubs. Although Manchester United is not a Champions League club and will not be one.
Sorry, do you want to repeat that?
With,
just repeat that again, Alex.
Yeah, Manchester United is not a Champions League club, and it will not be next season.
That's what you said. So. Yeah, cool.
So those moves are interesting. We will have a look at them, but they are less realistic. But we'll see.
Ronald says, I don't think we'll be going in for anyone. Ronald, give you a shake. Ginger says, Luka Jovic is the striker we need. He's available and loves to run the back line and wasted at Madrid. He's been mentioned a few times, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's somebody that I missed off my research list. Is somebody would be a very good idea for another show for sure. So I'll put him in, but we won't look at the stats. We'll keep it a secret. I'll do my research.
Well, there you are. That's who we're next talking about. Up on the screen there is Mr. Sven Botman. Now, Alex, you said to me before the show that you have some interesting take on why this Milan thing isn't happening and why it's all pie in the sky at the minute. Mr. John Sinclair, good evening, John, if you're watching. He is fully 100% confident that Botman is going to AC Milan. So why isn't he?
So this is just my opinion based on what I've read, but all of the reports seem to only be coming out of Italy that he's agreed everything. It's all Italian journalists and Italian media that are saying this, not his camp. His camp haven't spoken about the Milan move since January, and they spoke about us in Milan in equal parts. They were favouring Milan, obviously, because of European football and challenging for the title, but nothing's been said concrete from his camp since January. And likewise, the transfer fee, they've suggested something along the lines of 30 million euros would be a bid that they would potentially accept from Milan for Botman, which makes no sense considering we offered more than that in January and we could more than outbid that. So
Sorry, Alex. Andrew has just put in the comments exactly who I was trying to think of when you came on the screen tonight. A young Kenny Rogers.
Oh, God.
Yep. Anyway, I just thought I needed just... right, carry on.
Just to change my shirt.
Yeah, definitely.
Anyway, yeah. So Botman, where were we? Wages? No, we were transfer fee.
Yes.
Yeah. So Lil have apparently quoted 30 million euros as a fee for Milan, which makes no
Mm.
sense because we can outbid that. We've already outbid that, and surely Lille would just want the money based on their situation in France financially. So the transfer fee doesn't add up. The lack of chatter from his camp doesn't add up. And the wages. So the wages also, it's rumored to be around 4 million euros a year, which works out as somewhere around 75,000 euros per week, which likewise doesn't add up because we would be quite more than capable of giving him £100,000 a week, if not more than that, if he was, to be a marquee signing. So we could blow the wages out the water and the transfer fee, which Lille would enjoy, obviously a lot more. And thirdly, Amanda has openly come out and talked about having talks with the camp in January, and he was on the list, and that our owners have literally said he was a target. He's still young and he's still putting in the performances, and we are still in need of freshening up the centre backs because we're losing Fernandez and Clark potentially. So
Yeah.
it's a needed position. So all of those things considered, and the fact it's not confirmed, it just doesn't make any sense. I would prefer to wait and see until the summer. If he goes to Italy, fair enough. Milan look like they're on course for potentially a Serie A title. So if he wants to go to a top Italian club, fine. That it depends what his personal preference is. Maybe he grew up being very excited by Italian football. He's a defender. It makes sense.
Yeah.
But I don't think the ship has sailed yet by any means. There is too much still well within our control in terms of wages, transfer fee. I mean, Murdad still follows him on Twitter, so
I noticed that. Yeah, yeah. Aditya says, Alex, what about Daniel Podence? Can pull another Jota kind of signing like Liverpool did. He's written it down. There you go.
it
He's
is
got
down.
that one. Bruce says Paqueta and Ekiteke and one striker, winger, centre back, left back, right back. Bloody hell, Bruce! How many players are going for you? Listen, and then he finishes off with Jesus is versatile. Yes, he is. But I think you're asking a lot there, mate, to get that many players through the door. Now, obviously, there's going to be comparisons, Alex, between Botman and, of course, Diego Carlos, who was another very rumoured player to be coming in the January. But if we look at them both, I mean, Carlos is somebody that is probably still on the radar as well. I mean, Botman and Carlos will, I would imagine, still be in the owner's thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going by logic, and logically speaking, we have Fabian Schär and Lascelles as the right-sided centre backs, and Lascelles will remain in the conversation because he's the club captain. Whereas the left-sided centre back is currently Dan Burn, and the rest is up for debate. Does Dummett get a new contract? Clark it looks like he's going. There is no understudy to Dan Burn right now, so it stands to reason that we would go in first for a left-sided centre back who is left-footed. So it makes more sense. Maybe we'll go in for both. Who knows? It depends on how we do further up the pitch. It depends on where the free transfers come from. We did mention in the free transfer show Ginter from Bayer Leverkusen as a left-sided centre-back who is free this summer, so he's an option potentially, but he's not been rumoured or linked with the club, so that was just my personal sort of thrown out into the universe suggestion. But Botman, 3 goals, 1 assist in Ligue 1 this season for 2,000 minutes is not bad at all. Outperforming his XG because he does get some tidy touches in the box. Champions League experience as well. If we look at his actual stats, so I think I lined him up next to Dan Burn. I did. Yeah, there we go. So if we look at his stats, so this is Botman we're looking at right now. Not as high on the precious tackles and interceptions. Got a bit of work to do aerially. So I'm a little bit disappointed by that, considering he's 6'4", close to 6'5". But he is very young and very raw. Again, he's getting just shy of a 90% pass completion rate, which is very, very tidy with 60 passes attempted, which is the direction we want to go in. With being a possession-based team, we want centre backs who are strong but comfortable on the ball, comfortable at passing. Progressive passes is not too bad either with 3 per game. So this would be a project. This would be somebody who isn't a superstar, but is a very, very highly rated young centre-back in Europe. And I feel could play with Byrne in terms of be the understudy. They could rotate.
Yeah.
And if you look at his similarities as well, you've got De Ligt on there, Varane. I know obviously Varane's a bit of a meme at the moment, but he's still a cracking history of a player.
Yeah.
Lewis Dunk at Brighton, who I think is massively underrated as a centre back in the Premier League. I think he's
Oh
brilliant.
well, I've thought that for ages. I mean, Lewis Dunk for me is a better player than Ben White, and the money Arsenal paid for Ben White was just incredible, considering Lewis Dunk.
I agree.
Samir, is it Owadil or Odil? Thank you for your $4.99 super chat, mate. Much appreciated. Davey also says, will we get that not selling to Newcastle shit again? Well, time will tell on that one. But for me, though, Alex, looking at those stats between Byrne and Botman, Dan Byrne is outperforming Botman by a long shot.
Well, not in the passes.
No. I mean, this is a flipped defensively wise.
Yeah, indeed. Defensively, Byrne is a machine. He wins nearly more than 4.5 aerial duels per game. And his defensive contribution is outstanding. This has actually gone up since we looked at it in January because he's just been that good. And again, Botman provides that slightly more quality in terms of the in this area. It's difficult to critique him too much because we actively give Fabian Schär the opportunity to be a bit more adventurous with the passing and with the going forward. So Byrne maybe can do a bit more than this graph suggests, and we just don't let him. But Botman does look like a similar player. If Botman can start to improve the defensive side of his game and learn from Dan Byrne and start to be a bit more aggressive and win those duels, then we can see a hybrid.
That quote you've just come out with, though, Dan. I mean, Alex, Dan Byrne, Botman can learn from Dan Byrne. I mean, we never would have thought we'd be saying that.
Well, his positional awareness is incredible. The only thing that lets him down is a couple of times when he gets slipped in the offside trap. Well, it's not the offside trap. He's just too slow. When he gets caught on the 88th, 89th, 90th minute, it's not necessarily his fault. It's the Premier League. The pace of the game is mental. But his positional awareness, his strength, he knows when to cover out wide as well. This is going to be really important as we move forward as a dominating the ball team, because it's very likely that our left back is going to be well up that pitch. So Dan Byrne is so good at covering the wide areas and wrapping his legs around attacking wingers, and he's brilliant at it. So yeah, Botman is still young, only played in France. Champions League experience as well, so he would need to learn aspects of his game. And Byrne's very good at a lot of things. He's very underrated. So
Ellis is Fabio Vieira.
I've not heard of him.
I think he's a young kid. I'm not sure who he plays for, to be honest, but I think he's a young kid. Jack, good evening. Divock Origi would be a superb signing, and Nkunku from Leipzig. I think Origi's going to get mentioned a lot for a lot of teams, I think, simply because of the way he's performed when he's come on as substitute recently for Liverpool. He's kind of a cult hero down there now, though, isn't he? I mean, Jurgen Klopp, I don't know whether you heard his comments, Alex, talking about Origi, saying that he was the best finisher in training. I mean, that's like Eddie Howe saying that, Dwight Gale was the best finisher in training, yet he never gets a game either. Very strange comments, though.
If you look at his FB ref here, he doesn't have enough statistic. He doesn't have enough game time to warrant a stat map because he's not played enough minutes. He's played 100 minutes this season in the Premier League. It's not enough. We can't. He's 27 years old. There is not enough of a sample size to see if he's any good or if he can do this on a consistent basis. It's all well and good coming on as a substitute for one of the best teams in the world. Does that mean you can do it in a side that's building and learning how to play positive football? This is something that, as fans, it's very difficult for us to ascertain whether he's good enough. Clubs will have the data in the backgrounds. The club will be able to figure all this out. I can't, and most fans can't either. All we can watch is when he comes on for Liverpool and what he does. It's very difficult to give a decent answer to that. It's so tough.
A lot of the chat is saying that Gabriel Jesus is a go. a lot of fans are saying they wouldn't mind seeing Jesus here, which is interesting. Ryan, thank you for your $5 Canadian super chat. Very, very kind. Thank you. He says, let's not get upset if we don't sign big names. It's about buying players that are good enough to and fit the way Howe wants to play. Big up to you guys. Thanks, Ryan. And I think he's right with that. It's, everybody's talking about the big names. It's like we said before, these guys have to be players that come in and actually play to our manager's system and the team's strength that he's already got.
Indeed, yeah. I mean, so we were going to have a look at Nunez, but so to prove your point, this was my favourite choice from the free transfer show was Florian Grulish, who is a holding midfielder who would play in the Shelvey role for us, in my opinion, who's about to turn 27, defensive midfielder for Hoffenheim, plays in a possession-based team in Germany. And for midfielders, his passing stats are brilliant. He just sits there and sprays the ball about with 65 passes a game, 89% pass accuracy. He's pretty good with his tackles and interceptions as well. He could sit there as a Rodri kind of figure for us at 6'1". This is the kind of player that I feel we could have somebody as a backup to Shelvey or somebody to go ahead of Shelvey. So it's not necessarily about superstar names. We could bring in people like this who could really propel our team forwards, and they don't even cost a transfer fee, and most people haven't heard of who he is. So yeah, it's about smart recruitment, and this is what we need to balance in the summer.
Yeah, indeed. Right, one more for tonight, Alex.
Oh, well, we'll save Nunez then. I'm going to go for a random shout just to annoy you.
Oh, oh! Hang on a second. Keith has just said that in the comments.
Oh, really?
Wow. Okay. I wasn't expecting you to bring him up, but
I hid it from you pre-show just for fun.
I thought you might. Go on then.
Yeah, so obviously being in the championship, we're not privy to his FBRF because they only track the top 5 European leagues. The only reason I've decided to include him is because his statistics are absolutely bonkers in the championship.
Well, he's had an absolutely incredible season, hasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, when we talked about Mitrovic in January, I went, nah, I don't know. No, I think we can do better than that. In February, I'm thinking, oh God, he's still. And then March came around and he just won't stop scoring. The man is a monster. He's 48 goal contributions this season is outrageous.
That's crazy.
48. I know it's in the championship, but it's ridiculous. It's insane. It is so many goals.
Well, he's smashing all the championship records this season, isn't he? He's absolutely blown them out the park.
Yeah, I mean, if this was 30, 32, 33 goals, we'd be thinking, yeah, it's an incredible season, but can he do it in the Prem? But the fact it's 41 is bonkers. And if even though he's played a lot of minutes, he has played 3,500 minutes. If we scroll down, I thought I had his shots per 90. His goals per 90 is actually this season. He is getting 1 goal per 90. So 1 goal per 90 in any league is impressive, and the Championship is not a bad league. We talked about was it on yesterday's show, Andy Robertson making the step up to Liverpool. We've talked about Jared Bowen stepping up from Hull. Ben Rama stepped up for West Ham as well. There are players in the Championship that are capable of stepping up, and we know Mitrovic did pretty well when he came up with Fulham last time, if not for the quality behind him. So will he stay at Fulham and have another crack at it himself? There's definitely a player in there. Whether the Premier League is the right league for him, we're not entirely sure, but he has to be in the conversation for some bigger teams because of the output.
Yeah, I know. I'm staggered by his stats this season. I have to say, I'm staggered by the amount of goals he scored. 48 goal contributions. That is mental.
I mean, he's been in 12 team of the weeks this season. That's ridiculous.
Listen, he could have been in more. People have probably thought, well, I can't put Mitro in again. That is bonkers. I mean, it is crazy, to be fair. You don't see stats like that
shots a game as well. He's hungry.
Jesus
he's a hungry boy.
Christ. I mean, that wow.
Yeah, and the thing is, we do have Chris Wood who would play in his sort of style, but Mitrovic is a lot more mobile, a lot smaller. he's a very small for a target man, but we know what Mitrovic is like. He's very aggressive, and he has matured a lot since he was with us.
Well, I was going to
And
say
even
that.
since
Do you
we've seen
think
him
he's
last time.
matured? Yeah. Do you think he's matured as a player, both physically and mentally,
I mean, I
to
haven't
cope with
actually
the English
checked.
game?
Let's have a look. I haven't checked his discipline. 8 yellow cards this season. Interesting. I mean, he's always going to get that, isn't he? 41 games. It's a longer season in the
41
championship.
games, 8 yellow cards for Mitro is quite peaceful, I think, really.
Yeah, it's quite good behaviour from him, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, so I know there's probably a lot of people in the chat thinking, oh, God, no, please not Mitrovic. But purely based on the fact he scored 41 goals in a season, he's just got to be in the conversation because that is just lethal.
It's mental.
Is he going to score more than Chris Wood? I bloody think so. And more than Dwight Gale. Definitely. It would be bonkers to suggest he couldn't. He is 3 years younger as well at 27 years old. So he'll turn 28 a month into the season. So he is a few years younger. I mean, apparently his preferred foot is both, which I don't remember him being two-footed at
No, I don't either.
tackles. Never mind two-footed for shooting. But
yeah, he was. Yeah, I'd agree with that. Wasn't he more left-footed? Was he left?
I can't remember now. This has thrown me. I'm not sure. What does his FPRF say? It says he is right-footed. SofaScore seems to think he can play with his left and his right. Fair enough. So yeah, that's the final pick for today. I thought put it on as a surprise purely just because of the numbers are incredible.
Well, I mean, Tangy says there he's coming into his prime, so maybe just youth, and we know what's Mitro was like when he used to sort of he used to go sort of crazy, didn't he? I think when St James's Park was noisy and he got his he just went over the top sometimes with his energy and his passion.
Yeah, well, I mean, he got the goal against Sunderland, didn't he? When he was took his shirt off and stuff. So he's very well loved. I mean, I remember I don't go to many games at St James's Park, but I was there for his debut against Southampton when he came on and he got booked within 8 or 9 seconds or something.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I'll always like him for having seen his debut. It was just whether he could put up the numbers in the Prem, and well, if we're in a situation where we've spent a big whack on a midfielder and a winger, and we're getting further into the transfer window, and we're a bit like, oh, Nunez is gone, this guy's gone, that guy's gone. We'll see what Fulham want for him. You never know. It could be an option the club will look at, and you just never know.
I mean, it is. It's an option, but I would be staggered. I really would if they went.
Yeah, I think it's unlikely, but the fact he used to play for us and his numbers. He'll be on a lot of people's lists. Probably he'll be on lots of clubs' lists. Maybe not seriously, but a conversation like we're having tonight, the clubs are going to have to talk about him purely based on the output.
Yeah.
They have to consider him.
Yep, definitely. Ellis says, I say give Mitro a shot now you've been talking about him. Chipper says never go back for a former player. I'm not sure that's true. But, I mean, listen, people are saying Mitro's ship has sailed and stuff like that. You got to remember, he was very, very young still. He's doing well internationally now as well. He's I guess he has to be in the chat
as well. Yeah.
Right. Show's coming up this week, guys. Tomorrow night, 8:30. It's me and Billy Boy with the fan forum. So come and join us for that. The link will be in the live comments around about 15 minutes before we kick off. So come and join us live on the show for that. On Thursday, the four of us will be back for the match preview of the Liverpool game. Mr. Jurgen Klopp and his team visit St James's. And, of course, Friday night, 8 o'clock. Do not miss that one. Toon Review special with Henry Winter, the chief football writer for The Times. Of course, well-known journalist across, pretty much across the world. And been on Sky, been on a lot of TV stations. Brilliant, brilliant journalist and a lovely guy as well. So really looking forward to that one. And then on Saturday, Billy makes his debut as John Motson for the live watch-along. We are bringing you a home game at last on the Toon Review, in which Billy will be bringing you live commentary from the game from 12 o'clock. We kick off at 12 o'clock. I'll be at the game, but Billy will be doing the commentary, so please do join Billy. He's fantastic commentating on the game. Maybe he doesn't come out with his crazy quotes as what I do, but he is still a very, very good commentator of the game. So watch it on the telly by all means, but knock the biased commentary off and listen to Billy. It'll be a fantastic show. So he's hoping for the subscribers come together for that one and help him through his first watch along, because in the future it's going to be Billy doing the home games and me doing the away games. If for any reason then obviously I can't make a home game, then Billy will be I'll be doing the commentary. But for the home games it's going to be Billy, which is great. Alex, you've got a quick graphic to show us, I believe.
Yeah, so based on the potential signings of Paqueta, Jesus, Botman, and then my free transfer pick, I've got a little pitch view of what that could look like. So this is a little pitch view. Can we see this? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So this is just something I just put out there for positional depth. So I've put 2 players in each position just to show what could be available. So we've got Willock and Joe Linton as a left-sided. I know Willock likes to play there as well. You've got Bruno and Paqueta equally can play either side as an 8, and then Shelvey with my favourite pick as the sitter. Botman behind Byrne as the understudy. Presumably Target would come back. It seems to be the general consensus, but it's not confirmed. Manquillo, I know a few people have said Lewis in the chat, but I think Manquillo will be kept because of his versatility, even though he did have a poor game the other day. Trippier and Kraft seems to be the way forward at the moment. Sharon Lascelles as well. And then Jesus, who we talked about, could come in as the first choice right wing and could play anywhere across the front 3 in reality. And then we don't know what's going to happen with Almiron Murphy. They are options again across the left and the right side. Wilson Wood up front. It depends on what happens with the transfers as to who this magical. Let's bring another thing up here. Let's call him Magic, shall we? There we go. Who the Magic new striker is going to be up front.
Yeah.
And then Maxi with Elliot Anderson as my choice for the left wing for next season. So
it's a hell of a squad. It's a hell of a squad.
So that would be
interesting. You've got no backup goalkeeper there, Alex. Is there any particular reason for that, or do you just not know who the keeper is going to be?
Well, we will do a show which will include keepers potentially. So if I bring in the people who would be transferred, it would be Jesus and Paqueta. So let's move everybody out of the way. These are the 3 that we've talked about tonight in a random free transfer. So would it be insane to suggest that we could afford these 3 and a free transfer? I don't think we'd get 3. I think 2 would be more realistic, 2 bigger signings. But you can see the depth of quality and how much it improves the starting 11, and it gives us a lot more depth because our players who we consider to be really good right now with Fraser and players like that and Joe Linton could find themselves being support players.
Yeah.
Which is massive depth.
It definitely tickles the juices, though, doesn't it? Looking at those sort of players. Well, I mean, wow.
And that's how it would just look in an offensive way in terms of how we would look on the attack. This is how you might see on your television screens at home the shape of the team, or when you're sat inside St. James's Park. This is how it might look. It might sort of Botman staying back with Cher. Trippier will do kind of a Kyle Walker thing and maybe spray balls about. And then you've just got this bombardment of attacking quality here, just trying to score goals.
Well, one thing there's goals in that side. There is goals. There's no doubt. I don't think anybody's going to deny that. Absolutely incredible.
That was more my just fantasy, just playing around with the pitch.
Hey, you never know. You never know. You never know. But that is it for tonight, guys. That is the first in the series. We'll be doing plenty of these on the Monday night now because obviously the end of the season and then through the summer, we're going to be linked with everyone. But this is just general conversation about certain players who, we would realistically be able to get. But if you have enjoyed tonight's show, guys, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button and let YouTube know there is something great going on this channel. And if you're new to the channel and you like what you see, please do hit the subscribe button and the notification bell where you will be notified of every time we upload a video or we go live or we schedule a show. You can become a member of the Toon Review if you wish as well by hitting the join button just underneath the video. If you are on iOS, the best thing to do to become a member is to head over to our Instagram page, click the link for the channel in there, and it will take you to a desktop site where you can hit the join button on there. Thank you to everybody that's contributed tonight with your with your players. It's certainly given Alex some more work to do to get some more stats for future shows, which of course he absolutely loves doing anyway. So he won't mind that at all. Thank you to the mods again for all your hard work behind the scenes, keeping the chat nice and friendly. And thank you to everybody for watching. We'll be back again tomorrow night for the fan forum with myself and Billy. But until then, enjoy the rest of the evening, folks, and we'll see you tomorrow. Take care.